This audio is a shortened version of the full article. The full article will address real-world examples and further reading. If you need assistance in creating a Forever website, please contact Hertfordshire Web Design. Let's dive in. The Forever website. Why would you need it? First of all, let's talk about the growing concern of digital data vulnerability. We generate vast amounts of digital content every day. From social media posts and photos to business documents and personal communications, our digital footprints continue to expand. However, recent research reveals a concerning reality. The data we create isn't as secure or permanent as we might think. Contrary to popular belief, the internet is not a permanent, unchanging space. Digital platforms that seem rock solid today can face several critical vulnerabilities. When tech companies shut down, user data often disappears with them entirely. Platforms frequently alter their terms of service, potentially affecting data access and user rights. Server crashes, maintenance issues, or infrastructure problems can lead to significant data loss without warning. Extended periods of user inactivity may trigger automatic data deletion policies that users aren't aware of. Financial difficulties can force companies to discontinue services or sell user data to third parties without user consent. There is also the increasing problem with corporate control. Currently, a handful of major tech companies control vast amounts of personal and business data. This concentration creates several risks where users have minimal say in how their data is managed long-term. Corporate interests may not align with user data preservation needs, creating conflicts between profit motives and user protection. Business decisions, mergers, or acquisitions can dramatically affect data accessibility without user input. Even the largest companies can face unexpected challenges, providing no guarantee of permanent data preservation. This matters for our historical significance. Digital data represents more than personal memories. It constitutes our modern historical record. When platforms disappear or change policies, we risk losing cultural documentation, including social movements, trends, and cultural expressions that define our era. Business records containing important commercial and professional documentation may vanish without warning. Personal history, such as family photos, communications, and life milestones, could be permanently lost. Valuable research data for future academic and scientific study faces constant threat of deletion or corruption. Let's understand the scale of the issue. Research indicates that by 2070, inactive user accounts could significantly outnumber active ones on major social platforms. This creates an unprecedented challenge for digital preservation. Currently, inactive accounts have limited protection, meaning valuable digital memories, business records, and cultural artifacts could be lost or misused. So, why is this article being written? Well, it's due to blockchain as a solution for digital preservation. Blockchain technology offers a compelling alternative to traditional centralized data storage. Unlike conventional platforms controlled by single entities, blockchain systems provide a decentralized architecture, meaning your data is stored across multiple nodes worldwide, creating a resilient network structure. The network continues operating even if individual nodes go offline, ensuring continuous accessibility. No single authority can arbitrarily remove or modify data, providing protection against censorship and corporate interference. Once data is stored, it cannot be altered or deleted, providing permanent protection against tampering. Cryptographic methods ensure data integrity through advanced mathematical verification systems. All transactions are verifiable and auditable, creating transparent operations that users can independently confirm. Economically, users pay once for permanent storage, eliminating recurring fees that can accumulate over years or decades. The system rewards participants for maintaining data integrity, creating sustainable economic incentives. This approach is often more economical than long-term traditional hosting, especially when considering the total cost of ownership over extended periods. So, what are the permanent website archiving as a practical application? One of the most practical applications of blockchain preservation is permanent website archiving. This technology allows you to preserve websites exactly as they appear today, capturing their current state permanently. The system maintains full functionality of static content while ensuring long-term accessibility. This ensures access for decades without ongoing maintenance costs or dependency on hosting providers. The process creates reliable backups that operate independently of traditional hosting infrastructure. In reality, legal compliance becomes easier when you can maintain records for regulatory requirements without depending on third-party services. Brand protection is enhanced through preserving marketing materials and company history in their original form. Project documentation can be archived for completed projects, providing permanent future reference materials. Intellectual property protection is strengthened by securing evidence of creative work and innovations with timestamps that cannot be disputed. Here's how the implementation process for blockchain preservation works. Technical considerations you should know about. File formats, best suited for static content and documents. Size limitations. Large multimedia files may require optimization. Update restrictions. Preserved content cannot be modified after storage cost factors. Fees based on data volume, typically very affordable. Let's address common concerns you might have about permanence. Anxiety. While the irreversible nature of blockchain storage might seem daunting, this feature is actually its greatest strength. The permanence ensures that important data won't disappear due to business decisions, policy changes, or technical failures. Regarding technical complexity, modern blockchain preservation platforms have simplified the process significantly. User-friendly interfaces make it possible for non-technical users to preserve their digital assets without specialized knowledge. When it comes to cost considerations, blockchain preservation is often more economical than traditional hosting over time. A one-time payment typically costs less than several years of conventional hosting fees. Understanding the broader implications for cultural preservation. Blockchain technology enables the preservation of digital culture for future generations. Social movements, artistic expressions, and community discussions can be maintained independently of corporate interests. For research and academia, preserved digital data provides invaluable resources for future researchers studying our era. This information could contribute to understanding social trends, technological development, and human behavior. For individual empowerment, choosing blockchain preservation, individuals and organizations regain control over their digital legacy. This shift from corporate-controlled storage to user-controlled preservation represents a fundamental change in digital ownership. Here's how you make the transition. Your assessment phase. Begin by identifying critical digital assets that require preservation, focusing on irreplaceable or highly valuable content. Evaluate current storage vulnerabilities to understand potential risks and exposure points. Calculate long-term costs of traditional versus blockchain storage to make informed financial decisions about preservation strategies. Your implementation phase. Start with the most valuable or irreplaceable content to minimize risk during the learning process. Test the process with smaller, less critical files initially to build confidence and understanding. Gradually expand preservation efforts based on experience and evolving needs as you become more comfortable with the technology. Your long-term planning. Develop comprehensive policies for determining what content should be preserved based on value, legal requirements, and organizational needs. Create detailed documentation for future access and reference, ensuring that preserved content remains usable over time. Consider preservation as an integral part of regular digital maintenance, rather than a one-time activity. The challenges surrounding digital data ownership and preservation are real and growing. As our lives become increasingly digital, the risk of losing valuable information to business failures, policy changes, or technical issues continues to rise. Blockchain technology offers a powerful solution that addresses these concerns while providing unprecedented control over digital assets. By understanding these risks and exploring blockchain preservation options, individuals and businesses can take proactive steps to protect their digital legacy. The choice between relying on traditional platforms and embracing blockchain preservation ultimately comes down to control and permanence. While conventional storage depends on the continued operation and goodwill of corporate entities, blockchain preservation puts the power back in the hands of data owners. Making informed decisions about data preservation becomes increasingly important. Blockchain technology provides the tools necessary to ensure that today's digital creations remain accessible for generations to come, regardless of what changes occur in the technology landscape. By taking action now, you can protect your digital assets from the uncertainties of corporate control and ensure that your most valuable digital content remains permanently accessible, exactly as you intended it to be preserved. Final note: e-commerce, blog posts, and dynamic websites cannot exist on the blockchain as there are too many moving parts. Preservation is what it's all about. This part of the audio is referential and exhaustive, so please feel free to head over to the website article to read that section in your own time. Here's the list of the top applications. Professional services, law firms, preserve case documentation, legal precedents, and client communications for regulatory compliance. Accounting firms, archive, financial records, tax documents, and audit trails for long-term regulatory requirements. Medical practices maintain patient records, medical research, and compliance documentation permanently. Consulting companies preserve project deliverables, methodologies, and client case studies for future reference. Creative and media industries, advertising agencies, archive campaign materials, creative assets, and brand evolution for portfolio and legal protection. Design studios preserve original artwork, design concepts, and intellectual property with time-stamped proof. Photography studios protect high-value image collections and client galleries from data loss. Video production companies archive completed projects, raw footage, and creative assets permanently. Technology and innovation, software development companies preserve code repositories, documentation, and version histories. Research and development firms protect proprietary research, patents, and innovation documentation. Tech startups secure intellectual property, business plans, and development milestones. IT consulting firms archive client solutions, technical documentation, and system configurations. Education and non-profit, educational institutions preserve academic records, research publications, and institutional history. Non-profit organizations archive fundraising campaigns, impact documentation, and organizational history. Museums and cultural institutions digitally preserve collections, exhibitions, and cultural heritage materials. Religious organizations maintain historical records, sermons, and community documentation. Commerce and manufacturing, e-commerce businesses preserve product catalogs, customer testimonials, and marketing materials. Manufacturing companies archive technical specifications, quality control documentation, and compliance records. Real estate agencies maintain property listings, market analyses, and transaction histories. Financial services preserve regulatory filings, client communications, and compliance documentation. Creative professionals, authors and writers protect manuscripts, research notes, and published works from data loss. Artists and illustrators preserve digital artwork, creative processes, and portfolio collections. Musicians and composers archive musical compositions, recordings, and creative evolution. Photographers protect valuable image collections and professional portfolios permanently. Content creators and influencers, social media influencers, preserve brand content, collaborations, and audience engagement history. YouTubers and video creators archive channel content, subscriber milestones, and creative assets. Bloggers and online publishers maintain article archives, readership data, and digital publications. Podcasters preserve episode archives, audience engagement, and show evolution. Professionals and entrepreneurs, business owners, archive company history, milestone achievements, and brand development. Freelancers and consultants preserve client work, testimonials, and professional portfolio. Public speakers maintain presentation materials, speaking engagements, and thought leadership content. Life coaches and trainers archive educational content, client success stories, and methodologies. Personal and family legacy, family historians preserve genealogical research, family photos, and ancestral documentation. Parents and grandparents archive children's milestones, family memories, and personal history. Travelers and adventurers preserve travel blogs, photo collections, and journey documentation. Hobbyists and collectors archive specialized knowledge, collections documentation, and community contributions. Academic and researchers and academics preserve research data, publications, and academic contributions. Students and graduates archive academic work, thesis projects, and educational achievements. Inventors and innovators protect intellectual property, patent documentation, and innovation processes. Community leaders preserve advocacy work, community impact, and social contributions. Finally, this exploration started from a podcast shared with Hertfordshire Web Design. This focused on Carl Oman's work, particularly his book The Afterlife of Data, highlights the complexities surrounding digital ownership and the fate of information when users or organizations can no longer actively manage their data. It seemed clear that blockchain is the right solution. Thank you for listening.